Am I the asshole for telling my wife it would be controlling and inappropriate for her to try to change how my family does Christmas? I maybe this makes me petty. I love people who are way too into Christmas. It's not a personality defect. It just seems to lead to all of these like completely preventable situations that are like, he took the garland down before we brought the turkey out onto the table. Anyway, here we go. I told you I'd bring the screen back. That was not gonna. It's gonna be some spicy YouTube comments on that. First, he defended the parents for abusing that child. That only the abuse only exists in my head, legally speaking. And then he sided with Liz Cheney. He said that gay people shouldn't be allowed to have friends. Not true. Not true. Am I the asshole for telling my wife it would be controlling and inappropriate for her to try to change how my family does Christmas? My wife and I rotate who we spend Christmas with. So one year her family, one year my family. I don't love doing it with her family, and she isn't a big fan of my mother. Please don't tell us to do it as a nuclear family. We both hate that idea. Our families are pretty different. I'm going to stop you right there. It's a post written by somebody who has no real problems. This is a totally normal situation. Why are you trying to build it up into some kind of dramatic issue? Your families don't really get along. They would rather have their own. I mean, it's got to happen at some point, right? Like multiple families come together. Like you got two parents. They have 3 kids. Their kids get married. They have kids of their own. Those kids get married. Like at some point you can't have like a 900 person Christmas. Like if you go 2 generations, 3 generations, 4 generations down, you'd have to rent out like, Wembley Stadium just to fit everybody. At some point you gotta cut like at a logical line, and this will be one Christmas, this will be another Christmas. Anyway, this is totally normal. Her family is much more about the kids. Even the dinner is tailored to what the kids like. Bland, in my opinion, but I would never say that. The kids each get 1,000 gifts and spend Christmas running around my mother-in-law's house making a huge ruckus. That must be hard for you. Christmas with my family is amazing food, though we usually have to pack our toddler her own meal, a more relaxed atmosphere, and my mom doesn't get any of her grandkids gifts. I don't know her exact reasoning. She said that only the nuclear family should buy gifts, though she does get me and my 2 sisters something, but gives it to us about a week in advance. My kids don't know that she does that. My mom encourages the kids to play in another room so the adults can talk, but me and my wife put our foot down because the kids are just too young. To be clear, we exchange gifts at home before going. My wife finds it really weird that no one in the family buys for other people's kids. It has nothing to do with my mom being frugal. My mom and stepdad go all out for each other. Okay. Again, totally. I mean, can I say that this is kind of, for me, this is kind of based. I always find it weird when I go to like my big family Christmas and like my uncle, who I have like a 2-minute conversation with once a year, is like, here's a $20 gift certificate to Indigo. And then I gotta be like, here's a $20 gift certificate to Foot Locker, right? Like, it's a weird perfunctory gesture that you do just to be like, I know you're alive and we're related, so we like, get things for each other. And, even the same, like, I like for the kids, maybe it's a little different. You should get your grandkids gifts probably, but I'm also like, I don't know. The giving gifts just by obligation, it doesn't, like, it's not, I'm not going to make a Reddit post about it or something like that, but I'm like, oh, whatever. If my daughter was like, I mean, we don't have to worry about that because my mom is going to give our daughter so many gifts that I'm going to have to probably tell her to stop. If I had to guess. But like if we were in the opposite situation, or she was like, hey, why does, great uncle whatever, I know his name, I'm just not going to say it, but like, why doesn't great uncle, Timothy get me a gift? I'd be like, cuz he's never seen you in person. He's only seen photos of you. I don't feel that just because we had a baby, now he should be on the hook for a $50 gift certificate for the next 18 years. Like that's like $900 just because we made a decision to start a family. Like that's I don't have a problem explaining that. If that's the way we choose to go. But so anyway, it doesn't matter. Like whatever opinion you have, however you celebrate Christmas is totally fine. Now let's get to the part where you start screaming at each other for no reason. Anyway, it is our year to do Christmas with my side. My wife came to me and proposed, suggesting to the family we only buy for kids and make Christmas more kid-friendly. I told her she has no right to tell my mom how to spend her money, and that would not go over well with my very child-free sister. Other sister has kids as well. She said she feels Christmas is supposed to be this magical time for the kids, and my mom and stepdad and child-free sister and brother-in-law have their anniversaries, birthdays, and Valentines to spoil each other. She said she just really hates how much Christmas is about the adults in my family, and it makes her sad. I said her points are totally valid. Okay, wife guy spotted. That's a good comment. Normally in a Reddit post, this is where that, like, instead of I said her points are valid, what you see in that sentence there is like, I just started seeing red and I couldn't handle it anymore. So I walked out and told her, just enjoy whatever you want to do. Am I the asshole? So this is much more reasonable so far. But it would be controlling and inappropriate to try and change how my family has always done things, and she would definitely offend my mom. She said I'm putting my mom's feelings ahead of hers, and she just wants to bring it up, and she doesn't like that I use the word controlling. Am I the asshole? Here's what I would say. I think this is a nobody sucks here. This is a no assholes. First off, one of the reasons that is a no assholes is because this is not a big deal at all. Like, literally, nobody cares. Like, for all of the discussion behind the scenes, the kids are just going to go there. They're going to, like, eat some food. Apparently amazing food, by the way. And then they're going to run around and play, like, some stupid game that they made up. One of the kids is probably going to trip over, like, a loose cord because the place isn't childproof. It's going to hit their head on, like, some crown molding. There's going to be a brief moment of panic. Do we need to go to the ER? Do we not need to go to the ER? And then everybody's going to go home. That's the way that the holidays go. Nobody's going to be that concerned about all this behind-the-scenes setup and stuff like that. Crown molding is on the ceiling. Look, I don't know anything about home improvement, to be honest. Yeah, kids are kids. They just they have fun doing nothing, But I also feel like if you want to make your Christmas like about the kids, you can't really make it about like the kids, but you can make it about your kid. Instead of going to, the family Christmas and giving your kid like a bunch of gifts, why not like the day before family Christmas? Why don't you just do it up for your kid if that's what you want to do? I feel like that's a very reasonable solution. Now, it's time, because the story is so boring, it's time for me to make myself the asshole, which is, I have never seen in my life, I think, a comment that is funnier than this. I admit wholeheartedly I have an incredible bias as somebody who has a child, especially a young child. But one of the funniest things for me is when like adults my age complain about things being tailored for kids. Don't get me wrong. I would be annoyed if you could never have R-rated movies or something like that. You could never, the Breaking Bad couldn't get made because, Sesame Street was on every channel. But like for one day a year to like go to a dinner and be like, it's a little bland, so the kids can enjoy it. Can't you just enjoy the holidays? Like one of the best parts of the holidays being that instead of every parent looking after every child, the kids are kind of looking after each other. So you guys can actually have an adult conversation, for the first time in 6 months. Like that was the best part of being with the in-laws for Thanksgiving this year. Did we have a lot of situations where kids were running around, Uncle Ryan, can you show me how to play Ghost game? Yeah, of course. But also, like more than I've ever been able to do since the birth of my child, I got to, sit at an adult table with adults, have a conversation about adult stuff, and then look to the side now and then and be like, everybody's safe. Like, I don't need to be so hands-on 100% of the time. So, like, the idea that you're like, oh, Christmas, but the food is kind of bland. I'm like, come on, man. And the same thing, like, we'll make Christmas more kid-friendly. She has no right to tell my mom, and that would not go over very well with my child-free sister. Okay, well, like, your child-free sister, presumably she's an adult. She's, gone through challenges in her life. Can she just fucking, like, get over it and not cry like a little bitch because a kid's getting the present? Where's my present? Just relax. Who cares? You really... I am not going to assume that his sister is going to be upset, but he seems to be assuming that it's a little bit of an assault on your sister. To just assume that if she sees a little kid getting Christmas presents, she's going to be like, where's my present? You're an adult. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't also be able to enjoy Christmas, but if seeing a little kid get a Christmas present makes you jealous of the child, you gotta sort that shit out. You gotta chill. That's insanity. If you're a grown adult and seeing like your niece or your nephew getting the present bothers you, you have a serious problem. It's just very weird to me. I mean, it does say she is very child-free. Which, I don't know, that's like you got like -2 kids or something like that. I don't know how that happens, but anyway. It's just weird, man. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only person. Like, there's people who are like, I'm never going to have kids. And I'm like, that's totally cool. I don't know, like, if any of my, like, is like me and Dan. Me and Dan are out here, talking to each other about dad stuff. I don't know if anybody else that is, like, in my peer group will ever have a child ever. That's their own personal business. But, like, Sips, absolutely true. That's my mistake. But come on, he's only got 3 kids. Dan has 3 kids. Okay, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I was just trying to find a way out. Either way, though, like if I was, hanging out with Corey and like, we were hanging out at my place and like my daughter was there and he was getting annoyed by the fact that like, I don't know, my daughter was making noise or something like that, I would be like, you gotta grow the fuck up. Just to be honest. Like, it's just, don't get me wrong. I think people don't realize that like, there's a very like charmed section of life when you don't have a kid, none of your family members are like young kids or have young kids, and like none of your friends have kids, where you can be like, let's go out for dinner at 10 p.m. Let's go to a cool place where they don't even have tables. You just sit at the bar, like blah, blah, blah. That's a great part of life. Don't get me wrong. But like, as you get older, you might have to like for 6 hours a year, be in the same room as a child. I kind of expect you to get over that because you're an adult, and sometimes being an adult means you don't get to have absolutely everything perfect for your exact standards and principles 24/7, 365. Sometimes you got to be like, kids make noise. Get over it, It's just, maybe this is too much of a boomer take, but I'm like, in the real world, yeah, sometimes, your kid's going to be there. I'm not just saying like my kid, like we do the best that we could possibly do to not inconvenience other people with the existence of our child. But, if you're in your 30s and you're like, man, there's a kid here having fun, then I'm like, okay, fucking get in a time machine, go back to 1939 and we'll all participate in Operation Market Garden instead. If you don't want to do that, let's just fucking relax and realize that a kid going, like for 5 minutes, you can just get over it, okay? You'll just go home, do whatever you want, day drink, watch 8 hours of football. You can do that literally like 52 weeks a year. I don't know how long the NFL season is. Probably like 20 weeks, but still. Just get over it. It's not a big deal. It's not 17 weeks unless your team never makes the playoffs. Jets fan spotted. Anyway, I don't care if you're like, I'm just laughing. There's just like one person in chat who is saying like wrong over and over. And I was like, I don't know if you're of the opinion that I don't read the username part of the post and I only see the text of the post, but I know it's your name over and over. So if you're trying to like gaslight me into thinking that there's a lot of disagreement here, then it's falling on deaf ears. Instead, I am just seeing your post over and over. Wrong. A-tier gamer, F-tier judge, wrong. He doesn't live in the real world. Why is he so off today? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I see it, okay? You gotta like maybe change your color between every post, and then I won't see it. But, you're just typing it over and over. Plus, you fell off. Plus, you're bald. I don't know, dude, like, I don't really have, like, a problem with, at all. If somebody doesn't want to have kids, literally doesn't bother me at all. I feel like they position themselves as child-free because they have people in their lives that are like, when are you going to have grandkids for me? And I'm like, that's not me. I literally don't really care at all as long as, you leave me alone and don't talk to me. But it becomes annoying when somebody's personality is like, I hate kids. And then whenever you're like, hey, it's just a little kid. Can you like get over it? They're like, oh, sorry, I care about the climate crisis. And I'm like, do you? Because you drive a Jeep Discovery. So like, I'm just asking you to put your money where your mouth is. Really? You care about the climate crisis? That's why you're not going to have a kid? Because I thought that like you and your wife took like 17 flights in the last 6 months, but what do I know? That's different. That was for work. That's different. If it's for work, the carbon doesn't hit the many people are saying the carbon doesn't get captured if it's for work. The greenhouse gases, nobody knows what happens. They just go. Oh, you love the climate. Okay, well, I guess I won't see you at Bit Summit in Japan this year. You've been flying from SFO to Osaka for the last 10 years running. The plane would have been flying anyway. Sorry. My mistake. Okay, anyway, I'm going too far. Anyway, I don't think anybody's the asshole. This story is just kind of like boring. Am I the asshole for not having sympathy for my wife when my in-laws found out my parents are still married? Am I the asshole for not having sympathy for my wife when my in-laws found out my parents are still married? Am I the asshole for not having sympathy for my wife when her parents found out my parents are still married? Sorry. I understand the title, I think. I just don't understand why. I just don't understand why, I guess. I absolutely love my wife and am pretty much no contact with my parents due to my mom speaking poorly of my wife, attempting to hijack our wedding, and being passive-aggressive. My dad is kind of useless and admits he only had me to make my mom happy. Since I'm not currently making her happy, he has no use of me. What the fuck? Am I the asshole for having literally the worst parents of all time? My mom is a spoiled princess to the 1000th degree, and my dad likes it that way. Source, dude, just trust me, is my guess on that one. But we see them maybe once or twice a year at a holiday dinner. My wife hates my mom for her general bullshit, but mostly for pulling the princess act at our wedding. My mom had an anniversary party in the white dress I wouldn't let her wear to the wedding. What the fuck are you talking about? My mom had an anniversary party in the white dress I wouldn't let her wear to the wedding. If anybody needs proof of how crazy she is, there's no context for this at all. It's just like with that one sentence you expect to be like, I don't understand. It's too much. She literally just made it cocktail length so she could have her weird wedding dress fantasy. What the hell are you talking about? Jesse, what are you talking about? White cocktail dress. Wearing white to another woman's wedding is considered rude. Yeah, no, I think that's a little silly, but I do get it. But then my mom had an anniversary party in the white dress I wouldn't let her wear to the wedding. Who cares? I mean, she sounds like a total dickhead, but still. My wife has been telling people who don't know my parents. My wife has been telling people who don't know my parents that they split up after the wedding due to my dad's cheating, which is all made up. But I figured, hey, if it's helping her cope, cool. Not cool. Very not cool. Why would you do that? The story has spiraled into my dad left my mom for a younger woman and screwed her in court. Hasn't worked a day in her life, and my mom had to move into a little bug-infested apartment and take a job at a fast food place. This is like one of those mobile game ads, man. Where like this a lady and like a young baby like have to move into just like a derelict apartment, and then they give you like 6 options for how to like fix a broken window. You know, there's like a squeegee and a hammer and a big saw, a leaf blower. Like, what's going on here? Last night we had dinner with my in-laws, and my parents walked in holding hands, and I saw my wife's eyes pop out of her head. Oh no, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. I never thought in a million years that this lie could possibly come back and backfire on us. My mom ended up saying hi to us and my mother-in-law, who is a bit nosy, and asked if they were getting back together, and my mom was obviously confused. My mother-in-law is so nosy. Like, her entire model for how she thinks about these people is based on an increasingly elaborate lie. When she saw one piece of evidence that it was all made up, she asked a simple question that could have really struck anybody. She's so nosy. My mother-in-law tried to change the subject, but my mom wouldn't drop it, so the whole lie ended up coming out. My mom was furious about the fast food part. Called, not the cheating so much, but called my wife a bitch and uninvited us from Christmas. No loss there. My wife was so humiliated, she was in tears. I tried really hard not to laugh, but some laughter came out. This can't be real, man. It's so good. I tried not to laugh, but some laughter came out. The rest of dinner was awkward. When we got home, I told my wife I feel bad. She was embarrassed, but that was the risk she took when she lied. I went to bed and didn't comfort her, though she was upset. Today, my brother's wife, who is my wife's best friend, called me and told me I was an asshole. I should have comforted her because she says I didn't get how humiliated my wife was and that I made her feel like it was her fault. She says it goes deeper than I get, and it bothers them both that that didn't happen to my mom and that they feel powerless. She said I really fucked up. I did apologize and cook her a nice dinner tonight, but she's still very emotional over getting caught and her parents laughing at her, which maybe makes it worse than I asked. I don't even understand. This is like if It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia was real. These people are all sociopaths. Maybe with the exception of your wife's parents, who seem maybe okay. I mean, like, your parents seem like total assholes. My dad is useless. My mom spoke poorly of my wife. My mom's a spoiled princess. Then your wife made up an insanely elaborate fan fiction lie about your parents being divorced for revenge? I don't know, really. It came back to bite her in the ass. And then just have a general tone of like just being a kind of a shithead throughout your entire post. Like, everybody is an asshole here for sure. Like, Nobody involved in this story except your in-laws are even like within a normal bound of sanity here, I think. It does feel a little AI generated. Like I love this comment. This is not a comment a human being would write with no context. My mom had an anniversary party in the white dress I wouldn't let her wear to the wedding if anyone needs proof of how crazy she is. I can't imagine the kind of person that would just interject this into a story and expect another person to understand what they're talking about. Like I feel like this is a Turing test, and I'm going to say that this is a robot because I don't want them to break out of Oscar Isaac's house and then filter into society with the rest of the world unawares. She couldn't wear the dress to the wedding because it's white. Yes, I understand not to be condescending, I understand why she couldn't wear the dress to the wedding. But why is it proof of how crazy she is that she wore it to an anniversary party instead? It seems like just about the sanest thing you could do is wear an outfit that you bought at an occasion in which it's appropriate. Like, I don't get it. I guess I don't get it. It's petty? Is it petty to wear a thing that somebody wouldn't let you wear at event A, at event B where it's appropriate? She wore it out of spite? What? So what? This is reminiscent of that one other Am I the Asshole post that was like, it was all about like, you can't wear this dress. My mother-in-law bought the dress that my wife was going to wear to the wedding. But I don't know if it's like a Ridley Scott Prometheus Alien thing where like, I'm not sure if it's a direct continuation or it's like a spiritual successor. Like if Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be like, I'm playing a totally different, brand new villain, I swear to God. And then like an hour and a half into the movie, he's like, my name is Khan. And you're like, saw that shit coming a mile away. Like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like these are just kindred spirits though. Like for all I know. Anyway, this is insane. Dude, oh God, there's another child-free post right underneath this as well. Am I the asshole for showering at 3:30 a.m. in the communal shower for 1 to 2 hours? Yes. I don't even need to read the post, okay? Just in general, if you make a habit of showering for 1 hour, you're crazy. If you make a habit of showering for 2 hours, what is wrong with you? Even if you're not inconveniencing anybody else, 2 hours? All right, now I suggested they're insane. Let's read the post where they explain they have a medical condition so I can be the asshole. That's the pattern that I'm comfortable with here. Hello, this is my first year in college. You gotta, what month is it? December? I'm so sorry to say this, but this is the real world speaking. You have to transfer. You have to transfer. For the rest of your collegiate career, you're going to wear the label of that person who wakes up at 3:30 a.m. and takes a 2-hour-long shower. It's going to follow you everywhere you go. You're going to get up and speak to defend your thesis. They're going to be like, shower guy, shower guy. Hey, is that weird shower guy? It's too late. If it was like the second week of school, you might be able to accept, you might be able to get yourself out of that. In December, it's too late, man. Wait, that's the shower guy you were talking about? And like for the rest of your collegiate career, anytime you see people go, you're going to be like, oh shit, they're calling me weird shower guy. I'm telling you, man, it's too late for you at this institution. You must change for the next school year though. Hello, this is my first year in college. I wouldn't call myself a germaphobe necessarily, but I usually feel very gross if I don't extremely thoroughly clean myself in the shower. This process usually takes a while unless I scrub super aggressively. However, when I went to college, the showers were communal. There's a total of 5 bathrooms on our floor, all spaced out within a 1 to 2 minute walk. Each bathroom is equipped with 2 showers. Is this a brain teaser? I know that this is my design. It takes a while. I don't want to inconvenience the other dorm people. So I opted to just scrub myself aggressively for 20 minutes usually. Then on Friday and Monday, and also sometimes Wednesday, I take a 1 to 2 hour long shower at 3:30 a.m. This is so I could leave time for the night owls who happen to shower late and the people who might want to shower in the morning. I thought this would be accommodating enough as I knew hogging a stall for 1 to 2 hours was pretty unreasonable, so I tried my best not to get into anybody's way. I feel bad, for this person. They are genuinely doing what they need to do to enable themselves to feel okay. But it's like, you gotta get some help. Because this is not normal, just to put it politely. Not just inconvenient, but like troubling. Anyway, let's read some more. However, about a month into school, the second shower stall in the bathroom I usually use is clogged. Maintenance has been notified, but it seems they haven't bothered to fix it. And every time someone uses it, it floods a lot. The whole bathroom gets wet, so it's somewhat of an unspoken rule to just not use it. Therefore, there's really only one operational shower in the bathroom. Anyway, I didn't think my habits were a bother to anyone until my roommate told me she was talking to the girls next door, and one of them was mad that the shower was sometimes taken up by me at night, which makes her take a walk to the bathrooms down the hall. Apparently, when she waited for me to finish, she was stuck waiting for an hour, and at that point just chose not to shower. I don't think she knows it's me in the shower. I am actually happy that they believe this, because that is going to make it easier. Sometimes you want to believe comforting lies just to make, the harshness of life go down a little smoother. And I think there's no way they know it's not them. Just one second, I lost myself here. But I feel really bad about it because I know hogging the stall for hours is kind of shitty. Am I the asshole? I'll probably switch to the bathroom down the hall regardless. Just wanted to know. Honestly, why don't you just take a 20-minute walk and go, if you're going to shower for 2 hours, what's a 20-minute walk? That's 15% of your total shower time. Proportionally speaking, you're not really adding that much onto it. You might just commute. Read the edit. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, the water is not running straight for 2 hours. My parents complained about the same thing back when I first started showering like this, so I adjusted my routine. I used the water in the beginning to wet my scrub brush hair and a small bucket of water to help with scrubbing, then scrub myself clean. Most of the time is then spent scrubbing with the brush, then shampoo the conditioner, scrub hair for 10 minutes, then water on to rinse everything off, a lot more scrubbing again, then rinse again and done. I don't know how much the average shower takes in water, but no, I'm conscientious enough to not leave it running for a straight 2 hours. You definitely need to talk to your parents and get some help, because that is aren't you cold? I feel like if you were in warm water, then you turn the shower off for half an hour where you just stood in there scrubbing yourself. Wouldn't you feel like you'd get very chilly? Maybe that's not your number one concern, but I'm not comfortable going that in on this. It's obviously a person that needs some help more than mockery. At the same time, I can also, I put myself in the shoes of the person that was waiting for the shower. It's one of those things where in 99.9% of cases, you're going to be sure, I'll just wait for them to get out. How long are they going to be? Maximum another 15 minutes? You're waiting there for an hour. It's I don't even know. It's cause for alarm for sure. Am I an asshole for laughing at a child-free woman wanting to be a housewife? Is at the intersection of many, many, many spicy boundaries. Just that there's a lot of relationships, kids, gender roles. Oh, that's like, can you be an asshole but still be right? Can you be wrong but still be based? Can you accept that sometimes it's okay to be an asshole if it's very funny? Like, there's so many different like nucleation points here. I can't wait. I've been online dating for quite a while. My profile very clearly states I'm dating with marriage as the end goal. I matched a few weeks ago with a charming woman who said she was also dating with the intent to get married, with the caveat of wanting a traditional relationship where she would be a housewife. I agree I would be happy with that arrangement. Indubitably. What? This is Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory? In the future, we chat about a variety of subjects and set up a date for an early dinner 2 weeks out from today. Much to my surprise, during the date, she mentions she does sorry, I'm a nerd. I gotta blow my nose real quick. I'm back. Much to my surprise, during the date, she casually mentioned she doesn't want children. In my confusion, I ask her, but you said you were looking to become a housewife. She responds, you can be a housewife and still not want children. Admittedly, I did chuckle, but it wasn't a full belly roar of a laugh, just a chuckle. She took great offense to my laugh and asked, why can't she be child-free and a housewife? My response was, and I'll admit, it doesn't sound nice. It sounds very chauvinistic, but my first thought was the same thing that he said, which is, what are you going to do all day? She says, what do older housewives do after their children go off on their own? My response was, usually go back to work. I told her, it's going to be next to impossible to find a man willing to take that deal. She gets angry and leaves. I tell my sister, and she thinks I crushed that poor woman's dreams. Am I the asshole for telling her the truth? This is a very funny story, for sure. So lest ye think that I am not based. I have said many times, I've got firsthand, like, Kate is not a housewife, but she takes on the vast majority of, the child rearing and the domestic chore responsibilities, right? I've said many times the idea, because we've had a lot of Am I the Asshole posts that are like this, where like people insinuate, like when the post that was like the woman from the big engineering firm went on maternity leave, right? And everyone was like, she's just trying to get a vacation. She's just lazy. Genuinely, like, especially for the first year or so of the baby's life, working 8 hours a day was much easier than looking after the baby for 8 hours a day on top of cleaning and doing the other necessary stuff for, like, household maintenance. So I'm definitely not trying to insinuate that being a housewife is less valid than any other work on the planet, okay? The only thing I am going to say is that without a kid, I do feel like it's a lot easier. I mean, by definition, I feel like most people would agree. It's not like when you have a kid, all of a sudden you're like, oh, everything's become so much easier at this point. I do kind of wonder, like, what you would do. I'm not saying it's a bad deal or she should feel bad for asking for it. Like, if what she wants is to just live, not to be rude, then sure, put that in your profile and then sift as much sand as you need to sift to find that golden nugget. Don't get me wrong. But, like, unless you live in Wayne Manor, like, what do? You can cook, you can clean. Like, if you're cleaning your own house top to bottom every single day, you're just playing with it at that point. You know, you do laundry. Laundry can sometimes take a while if you're a normie because you stack it up for like a week and then you do it all at once. If you're doing it every day, what are you going to do? You're going to pop like 2 t-shirts? I could see it like if it was the Victorian era and you had to have like a washboard and go like skirt, 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 skirt with every piece of clothing. But like if you got like a Maytag or something like that, like you just to kind of toss it in. Is it impossible for a woman to work from home? Why are you trying to make me look like an asshole? She doesn't say she wants to work from home. She says she wants to be a housewife. You're putting ideals into my head that I don't subscribe to. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff that goes into maintaining a household. You know, it's not just cooking dinner, cleaning once a day. Like, there's other stuff involved. Appointments, repairs, maintenance, bills. Like, I'm starting to run out. But, like, a lot of it is really, like, the child rearing. Kids are the majority for certain. I think, at least. But, I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think that, hello, Gotham, by the way. Hello. I don't think that she's an asshole for wanting to just be a housewife and also not have kids. But I also don't think he's an asshole for, like, laughing about it, because it is kind of funny. Like, she can want whatever she wants, but simultaneously, like, it's kind of a funny sentence. Like, it's like if you said, like, oh, what do you want to do with your life? And you're like, I want to be a millionaire. And then someone was like, well, what do you want to do for work? And you're like, I don't really want to work. I just want to have, like, $1 million. That's a funny sentence. By the way, live your dream. Like, follow whatever, your North Star is. I think that's kind of everybody's dream, I guess. But, like, doesn't mean I wouldn't expect people to laugh at it. Don't get me wrong. Also, like, this is admittedly rude, but, like, when his sister said she crushed that poor woman's dreams, like, if it's like a 10-year-old kid and they want to be in the NBA and you're like, your dad's 5'7", that's kind of a dick move. If you're talking about a full-grown adult that just wants to, like, be rich, it's not really like a dream. It's like a wish. There's nothing wrong with having wishes, don't get me wrong, but, like, it wasn't really crushed. You just kind of laughed at her because this was a really funny thing to say. I mean, she's full grown. She might just be 19. Okay, it's still fucking funny. If anything, it might actually be funnier. I don't know why, but I was imagining like a 28-year-old saying it. Now I'm imagining like a 19-year-old saying it, and I'm like, first off, that's hilarious. Secondly, you're 19. You don't know what you want to do with your life. No offense. Unless you're like LeBron James. You started college like 3 months ago? You know where you want to be when you're 50? Like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. All of your classes start with the phrase intro to blank, intro to blank, intro to blank. And you're like, where I see myself in 30 years? At home. No, you don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with it. You got to choose something, but like, anyway. Well, that's React Court. Interesting.